Let me tell you a story about a king, a massive enemy army, and a victory that was won, not with swords or spears, but with faith and singing. Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, was a faithful servant of Jehovah. He had brought reforms to the nation, encouraging the people to turn back to Jehovah. But then came a day when his faith would be tested like never before. Messengers arrived with terrifying news. A vast army, a coalition of Moabites, Ammonites, and others, was on the march. They were closing in fast, and Judah's small army stood no chance against such a force. Jehoshaphat was afraid. Who wouldn't be? But instead of panicking, he turned to Jehovah. He proclaimed a nationwide fast and gathered the people of Judah together to seek Jehovah's guidance. This alone is a powerful lesson. When we face overwhelming challenges, what's our first response? Do we let fear consume us? Or do we turn to Jehovah, just as Jehoshaphat did? In front of the entire assembly of Judah, Jehoshaphat prayed. His prayer is recorded in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verses 6 to 12, and it's one of the most heartfelt expressions of faith in the Bible. He began by acknowledging Jehovah's power. O Jehovah, the God of our forefathers, are you not God in the heavens? Do you not rule over all the kingdoms of the nations? In your hand are power and might, and no one can stand against you. Then Jehoshaphat reminded Jehovah of his past acts of deliverance, showing his deep trust in Jehovah's promises. But the most striking part of his prayer comes at the end, where he admits their helplessness. He says, "We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you." What humility! Jehoshaphat knew that without Jehovah's help, defeat was certain. But his faith was clear. His eyes were fixed on Jehovah, trusting him completely. Jehovah didn't leave his people in suspense. Through a man named Jahaziel, Jehovah delivered a powerful message. Jahaziel said, "Do not be afraid or terrified because of this large crowd, for the battle is not yours, but God's." He told them to march out against the enemy, but assured them they wouldn't need to fight. Instead, they were to stand still and see the salvation of Jehovah. Imagine hearing those words. The enemy army was still out there, but Jehovah had promised deliverance. All they had to do was trust him. Early the next morning, Jehoshaphat and his army prepared to march out. But their strategy wasn't what you'd expect from a military force. Jehoshaphat did something remarkable. He placed singers, yes, singers, at the front of the army. Their job wasn't to fight, but to sing praises to Jehovah. As they marched, they sang, "Give thanks to Jehovah, for his loyal love endures forever." This wasn't just music, it was an act of faith. They were walking into a potential battlefield, trusting Jehovah completely. Now pause for a moment and think. How would you feel in their place? Could you march out with such confidence, knowing the odds were against you? As Judah's army marched and sang, something incredible happened. Jehovah caused confusion among the enemy forces. The Moabites, Ammonites, and their allies turned on each other. By the time Judah arrived, the battlefield was eerily silent. The enemy army was gone, completely destroyed. All that was left was an abundance of spoils, so much that it took Judah 3 days to gather it all. This victory came without a single sword being drawn. It was a clear and undeniable demonstration of Jehovah's power. Afterward, Jehoshaphat and the people of Judah returned to Jerusalem, rejoicing and praising Jehovah. The nations around them were awestruck when they heard what had happened, and Judah enjoyed peace for years to come. This story isn't just about a military victory. It's about faith, obedience, and the power of praising Jehovah, even in the face of overwhelming challenges. So, what can we learn from Jehoshaphat's story? When trouble comes, our first instinct might be to try and solve it ourselves. But Jehoshaphat teaches us to turn to Jehovah first, seeking his guidance through prayer. Jehoshaphat didn't need to understand how Jehovah would deliver them. He just needed to believe that he would. When we face our own battles, we can trust Jehovah to fulfill his promises, even if we don't know how. The singers went out before the army, showing complete faith in Jehovah's power. When we praise Jehovah even in difficult times, we show that our trust in him is unshakable. Jehoshaphat's story reminds us that no challenge is too big for Jehovah. The battle isn't always ours to fight. Sometimes it's Jehovah's. So, the next time you face a seemingly impossible situation, remember Jehoshaphat's words, "We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you." If this story inspired you, share it with someone who might need encouragement today. And don't forget to subscribe for more Bible-based stories that bring faith to life. Until next time, keep your eyes on Jehovah, for he never fails.